All right. So today we're trying some new camera equipment out, and also we're going to do our video on the G-Wagon, things to look for in buying a G-Class. In our particular operation here, a G63. All right. So essentially, what we have here is I bought this car for a few reasons. I wanted it. I want to make some videos on it and that sort of thing. And it's actually turned out to be a pretty good vehicle overall. But there is a lot to look out for on it. So if you don't know what this is essentially Mercedes' highest end SUV. It's a little bit different. This is on a platform that was started in 1981, I believe. So it essentially looks like an early 80s vehicle, but it's not. So this is 2014. Some of the issue we have here is, like a lot of this stuff, these lights. These lights are essentially off a, I don't know, 1992 boat trailer or something. Same with these. The same lights you would actually really truly find on a trailer. And that kind of keeps the vehicle simple, right? And it very much so is a very odd machine. So since these are old lights, not LED, you have to constantly fit them with the bulbs, constantly fit them with everything. It has factory HID headlights, and it's a pretty nice upgrade. Also has LED daytime running lights in the bottom. Has a factory brush guard on it, or cow catcher, or deer pusher, or whatever you prefer to call it. It does very much so resemble a Jeep, but it's the furthest thing from a Jeep you could possibly get, and it still look like a Jeep, right? This has no legitimate resemblance to a Jeep once you actually drive it. We got the AMG, the big brakes on it, and that's essential for this thing, since the sheer weight of it's about 6,000 pounds, a little less than 6,000 pounds. It makes what, 535 horsepower. I don't know what the wheel horsepower is, probably mid to high 400 range. I really don't know. We haven't got that far with it yet. And that's kind of the situation with this car. It's an oddity, right? Things to look for. The door handles don't break too much. These had some issues because somebody's had it apart before doing the wrap. These don't really have any hinge problems. They don't really have any issue as far as any of that goes. The electronics issues are pretty minimal on these. And even though I'm sure they have some issues, it's not like other manufacturers where it's just constant. The door panels on these things is about as primitive as they possibly get. Something off a 1979 Toyota Land Cruiser, maybe. Just a flat panel. But then it has all the new amenities done to it, like the seats. You know, everything, it's old but new, right? Got the Harman Kardon, a little dirty. Harman Kardon stereo system, Logic 7. You can see here on the inside, if I get you pointed right, you can see the niceness of the shifter. This is not the newest generation interior, because it's not the newest generation, obviously. It has Alcantara headliner. You can see here, right? That's the material that's known not to fall down, which is always a plus. And these seats have another set of lumbar adjustments here and seat bolster adjustments. It does make it actually pretty much quite nice to ride in. Really no other issues with that. The factory wheels, and it's kind of your desire, right? At that point, all the windows are put in like old style Jeep though, with a basic rubber seal. Got some vents back here. This thing's a little bit dusty from sitting around. As you know, this thing is due to get some repaint done on it, and I just haven't got there yet. The back bumper, I think we might go and update that. It's a little bit dated. It's a little funky with one red light and one white light, just the way it's set up. And here again on the back, why they did not do LEDs for the taillights, but they're not. They're just regular bulbs in there. It just makes a person wonder. It's like it was the most expensive vehicle they made, but then it was kind of also cheaped out on a lot of little tidbits and bits and pieces. One thing, we don't know if this is a Mercedes issue or not, but our paint fade here and there, which we're going to fix all that. But why would a vehicle with 80,000 miles have paint fade? Was it something with the wrap? Is that a common thing? In my opinion, since these are plastic, once you use the additive that makes that paint flexible, usually it does not last long. I think it's probably what we have here. Also for the exterior, the windshield is something else to talk about. If you're looking at one of these and the windshield's broken, be warned. Be warned. I don't know if it won't show up on camera. This is actually a heated windshield. Not all of them have that, but I think all the G63s did, where it has a fine mesh in between two panes of glass. This windshield from Mercedes, I think Mercedes, the only place you could buy it is $15,000. And it's heated, so it has a heat element right there. The camera will focus or not. It's like or not. And that heats the whole windshield. I mean, why did they just put defroster on it? I mean, I really don't know. And we probably never will know. I would say exterior. We'll finish up here with this, and we're going to go into the interior a little more in depth. My biggest gripe is the trim on it. None of the trim seems to be holding up well or held up well. And we put the carbon fiber strip on it. You can see, I think that's pretty good upgrade from the factory, I would say. But the trim and lights is my biggest complaint. The rest of the outside is perfectly fine. And as we go up here and take a look at the back, you know, there's not a lot of leg room, but there's definitely enough for a full-grown adult. And you have rear heated seats here on the door panel. Everything else, you need another very simple door panel. Just a tweeter in here for the stereo. And AMGs have all the light up AMG logos on all the door sills and the back door. A lot of weight to the back door for sure. Some say these are bulletproof. I mean, we're not going to check that out, right? Nice big carpeted cargo area in the back. Definitely haul a lot of stuff. The back seats fold down. I'm not sure if they flip forward or come out or what the extent of that is. Got a AC plug right here. You plug something AC in, you could do all that. Like everything on this car is very simple, as you can see here. Whoop. All the screws are like old school. Everything's real old school on it. And so there's nothing you can't take apart just in a few minutes on it. There's nothing over complicated. And these door handles has a big Phillips screw here. You take the panel off, and there's another screw that holds this side of the handle in, and that's it. It comes right off. This thing does have side pipes. Can we even get you in the shot? Side pipes on both sides from the factory. You see on this side also. Under the hood, nothing seems very complex under here at all. This is the twin turbo V8. It's not the quietest engine. Like, it is a little bit noisy on cold start especially. And that was the biggest complaint. A lot of other guys said that too. We have our intercooler piping right here. And then we have, I always go the wrong way with this thing. Our air boxes are up here. We're gonna do filters in those pretty soon. The spark plugs look pretty easy. All the belt stuff is not that difficult. I mean, it looks difficult on camera, but it's not. Not difficult to get to. Your coolant reservoir, just your regular simple Mercedes coolant reservoir that almost all the cars have the same one. We have electric water pump right there. We have mechanical water pump down in here. We have, you know, just a very standard BMW looking power steering fluid, oil filter, everything's easy, right? Nothing's overly complex, and these engines don't tend to have much issue at all. Reading on the forums, reading everything I can on it, what little you can find about it is always good. Cabin air filter, super easy right here. There's 4 screws, 3 screws that come out, and really nothing to it. So, I mean, overall, you can't really ask for anything much easier than that, to be totally honest with you. It's a very simple vehicle, but then a lot of technology packed into it also. Even though it's a 2014, it does not have the newest tech. We're getting off to there. Gimbal's doing all kinds of weird stuff. It does not have the newest tech. It has the second newest tech, right? So you do have to understand all that. And if you're okay with that, it's a massive price tag. A good deal on one of these right now, like the best deal I could find right now anywhere in the US, is $73. And that's kind of like, could you find that if you really wanted to buy one? That was one of them, right? The other ones we see, this one has 80K on it. Other ones we see are in the low to mid 80s. That makes it more than double the price of a C63 or E63. But it's all what you want. It's all what you like at that point, right? It's, it's your preference. At your preference, if you need 4-wheel drive and an SUV type vehicle you can haul more people in, this is probably it. All that being set aside, is a specialty vehicle. You could daily drive this. The more miles you put on it, the more comes off the price of it. So every time you get it, essentially you are losing some dollars off of it to a certain extent. I would say not as bad as a lot of other stuff. Overall, would I recommend buying one of these? I think so. We haven't had any issue with it. The maintenance is easy. A solid axle front and rear. You can't really argue with that. I mean, it doesn't have any failure points on the drivetrain. It'll take the abuse. If you're into big tunes, you can flash a big tune on this thing and give it a couple hundred more horsepower easily. And if that's what you're into, knock yourself out. But it is shaped like a bank vault or a safe. So propelling yourself to 150 miles an hour into a corner is probably not going to fare out for you too good. But that's going to be it. I mean, overall, a very solid vehicle. That's all. We'll see you guys later.